Hello everybody, Megazord here, back at it again to give you another very exciting video. And for today, honestly, I've been working on my living decks for like the past couple of months or something like that, trying to get one of every single Pokemon and stuff like that. And eventually it brought me down to Pokemon Home's new release of their 2.0 update. And then I was like, I had to boot up my classic old Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl to get my Jirachi off of there. And then I was looking at this game and I was like, pause at the 7th gym. And I was like, oh yeah, I still need to go through and beat this game. And I was like, oh, no. I closed that switch off, got the Jirachi out, and I bounced out of there. Like, I kid you not. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl put me off so much from that game. I never played through a Pokemon game and said, you know what, I'm done. I'm not even going to finish the main line of the game. That's it, just quit. Like, no, like I never had experienced that before. And the thing that put me off from that is how much of a one-to-one remake it was. Like, they didn't do like any sort of kind of brand new stuff. I mean, yes, there is a little brand new stuff like with customizations and stuff they did with the PAL Park area and stuff like that. But at its core value, it was truly one-to-one in comparison to like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where they did like quite a bit of different new changes into that. We didn't get none of that in this game. And in today's video, I wanted to sit down and talk to y'all about doing away with remakes, but not in the, but not the way how you might have envisioned it in. I want to get rid of remakes in the sense that in the classic way of just kind of a one-to-one or just retelling of the same original story. I want us to scrap that idea and do remakes in the sense that several years have happened between the original release and the new one, and basically telling a brand new story, but still using the same Pokemon that are native to that region and using the same area lands and stuff. They could add some new stuff here and there, like new areas and stuff like that, but use the foundation of the old region, but incorporate a brand new story. And I'm going to elaborate that a little more as we go further along within this video though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that like button, so that way you don't miss out on any of my videos that I feel like releasing out here on my channel. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video. Alright, so in order to understand everything I'm trying to discuss within this one video, we gotta look at the history of Pokemon remakes, where they originally started from, all the way up to where we're currently at with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So let's go ahead and take a look and go back down memory lane, and let's look at Fire Red and Leaf Green and what kind of new stuff it brought out to the table. So within Fire Red and Leaf Green, they served as the first remakes of the mainline Pokemon games, setting the baseline for what it means to reimagine an entire region for more modern consoles, introducing full color graphics, natures and IVs, the option to play as a girl. These games on the Game Boy Advance made the original Kanto games look the way players felt when experiencing the region for the first time. It introduced an entire new area full of post-game content called the CB Islands, which featured expanded story content and the ability to catch Pokemon previously found in Johto and Hoenn regions, including mythical and legendary Pokemon. Through these games came long before the second Kanto remake, which was, the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. They offer lots more post-game content than the Nintendo Switch versions of Kanto ever did. Now, with these games, Fire Red and Leaf Green, man, they were something to behold playing those games back in the day, because if you went through and played like Pokemon Red and Blue or even Yellow, which did release on the Nintendo 3DS's Virtual Console, I mean, those games are pretty bland. They actually are kind of a little bit challenging as you kind of get closer to the Elite Four itself though. But those games, man, they were rough around the edges. But with Fire Red and Leaf Green, it just put so much life up into it with the color, and then the fact that you had the abilities and the EVs and IVs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they did so many different changes in that game, and then the post game with the CB Islands and stuff. I can't, oh man, I can't say how many times I went through running around all those different islands trying to catch all these different Johto Pokemon and stuff like that. Like it did add a whole lot more. You had breeding that you're able to do on, I believe it was the 4 Island and stuff like that. They added quite a bit of new stuff within these Fire Red and Leaf Green games that felt completely different from the original Red and Blue games. So I was like, okay, I was like, you know what, they were getting somewhere with those first set of remakes. But you know, that was kind of, you know, bottom of the barrel. That was their first attempt at making a remake of the games for the first gen and for all the future games that will come after it though. So that was bottom of the barrel though. But then let's go ahead and jump up to the next game here on the list, and we'll go ahead and jump over to Gen 2. So we had Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and in these games they made the physical special split, the integration of timed events using the Nintendo DS's internal clock, daily and weekly events, Pokemon Fall on the player, the ability to transfer Pokemon from previous generations, the Battle Frontier, wink wink, and improved music were just some of the changes that many players love to this day. Also, don't forget, we got the Pokewalker, which was essentially Pokemon Go before smartphones. Like, just think about that for a second though. And it encouraged people to get out and walk around with items and exclusive Pokemon as rewards. Heart Gold and Soul Silver made Johto and Kanto feel more modern to its truest sense of the word, while building off a Diamond and Pearl to make the experience of the Nintendo DS as enjoyable as possible. The inclusion of 2 entire regions nearly doubles your playtime, with Kanto serving as a new game plus of a sorts. So remember that this game had 16 gems in it compared to the original 8 that we normally get within any kind of regional game, unless you kind of have to throw out Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. Like, they didn't operate on the gems though. But outside of that, every other generation traditionally had 8. This one gen had 16, and for this remake, man, I mean, to this day, this is probably, for at least for most of the fans out there, their most beloved remake of a game out of all the remakes out there, between the 4 that we got so far though. Technically 5 though. Let me backtrack a little bit, because technically we also had Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I don't really want to talk about those because that's technically a remake of like a Gen Yellow game, so it's technically almost a remake of a remake, because we already got a remake with Fire Red and Leaf Green. So then they kind of did a double remake in the Let's Go style though. So I mean, I'm kind of excluding it. I'm just gonna kind of consider just the main remakes right now. Now jump back to Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I mean, shoot, the fact that they included a Pokewalker and stuff, I remember my brother going around all over the place with that thing and just using and implementing that thing, just going catching Pokemon, feeding them, something like that, transferring them back to the DS stuff. It was something to behold back in the day though. And this being able to have the Battle Frontier up in Johto and stuff, and then, you know, you having 2 whole regions to go through. I mean, shoot, I can't even remember, even when I was playing Fire Red and Leaf Green, I remember knowing that, hey, Johto is just on the other side of this wall right over here. And I was like, oh, let me go into the Johto region. Like, I don't know why I was just kind of thinking that, because my brother was going through and playing Heart Gold Soul Silver though. But that game was truly something to behold, with all the different changes and stuff like that. Just building upon that Gen 4 engine that they had for the DS at the time though. I mean, you just could not go wrong with this one. So last, we had Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now, flying over the Hoenn region on Mega Latios and Latios, pushing the Nintendo 3DS to its limits. Game Freak wanted to show players what Hoenn would have looked like if they had the resources back then in the days of the Game Boy Advance. The new and returning Mega Evolutions, which included new primal forms for Kyogre and Groudon, and integrations with Street Pass through the distribution of the Eon ticket, the sheer level of customization that went into building your super secret base, being able to visit other super secret bases and battle trainers, and much more gave Hoenn classic features while incorporating modern mechanics loved by fans to this day. There was also an entire new post-game story that was added with the Delta episode, which introduced Mega Rayquaza, a new form for an all-powerful legendary dragon, and it allowed the mythical Pokemon Deoxys to be catchable for the first time without having to go to a physical location for an exclusive event. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, while yes, some people, it kind of rubbed people off the wrong way, because I think for the most part, most people were kind of salty at the fact that they didn't necessarily have the Battle Frontier, which is something that they kind of wish came from Emerald into Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire though. But you know, for some reason they kind of want to stay kind of closer and true to Ruby and Sapphire though. But we all know as the fans, these are definitive experiences, so people still wanted to see that Battle Frontier up in there though. But instead they gave us the Battle Resort, which gave us the Battle Macian, which was similar to the basically the same thing that we had in Pokemon X and Y. They just brought that over here to the Battle Resort to basically take place of the battle tower that existed within the original Ruby and Sapphire games though. But outside of that little thing though, all the new stuff with the Mega Evolutions, you had the Primal Forms, the Kyogre and Groudons and stuff, which definitely, you know, changed and tweaked the story of the original Ruby and Sapphire quite a bit. I mean, it was just a lot of cool stuff, and that cherry on the top was that Delta episode, because it was crazy to go through there, get introduced to this brand new character and stuff. You climbing up this tower and stuff, trying to get with Rayquaza or whatever though. You wind up going all the way into space, the Battle Deoxys, and it was like one of the only games out there right now where you can actually capture Deoxys physically in the game without the need of a special event. Like, that was this craziness. And then I remember I was actually going through and playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, going through, flying through the region and stuff like that. Like, it allowed you to fly, drop off on any route. Like, you could fly to a specific route, not just the town up in there. I love that modern convenience in that game as well. There's a lot of different things. I feel like I'm only like scraping off like the top of the iceberg or whatever though, because there's probably even some more stuff that I hadn't even personally thought of before shooting this video right here though. But there's a lot of changes and new implications that they put up into this one game. Not just this one game for Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, same thing applies with Heart Gold Soul Silver, same thing for Fire Red and Leaf Green. But then when you get over here to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which goes back to my argument, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was literally like copy paste. And to make things feel a little bit more off, it was not made by Game Freak themselves. They were prioritizing Pokemon Legends Arceus, which that was a great game. I really did love that one though, but they passed this one off to Ilka, and I guess it was Game Freak's decision to say, hey, we're gonna pass this off to you, but to make it a little bit easier, we'll just keep it faithful and we'll just let that be. I just felt like Diamond and Pearl, if it weren't for the Legends Arceus game, they really would have shafted this thing, gave it the short end of the stick though. So this kind of gets me to my grand idea in this video is the remakes were working from gens 1 through 3. They worked. People enjoyed them for what they were. But Gen 4 kind of made some people start scratching my head, including myself. So this is the reason why I want to say get rid of the traditional remakes. Like, I don't want to see another scenario happen out with a Gen 5 remake, which you know is going to be inevitable. They're going to get to it at some point. I don't want them to get to a Gen 5 remake and do the same thing, copy and paste, faithful remake to the original Gen 4 games. Instead, make these games sequels in the sense of like Black and White to Black 2 and White 2, because in those games a lot of things have changed from one game to the other, but instead of making it a direct sequel within like the same generation, do a remake, but it's a sequel technically to the original game. So it's going to be a sequel to the original Black and White, Black 2, White 2. It's going to be a sequel to that while also still being a remake. Use the same region, use the same Pokemon, but don't use the same copy and paste story. Make the choices and interactions that we made as players with the original games directly influence what's going to happen within these remakes that will happen for every gen that will happen beyond here, Gen 5 and onward. Because I know Gen 6 in particular really needs that, because we never had like a Pokemon Z or that third iteration within that game. So I'm very curious to see how a Gen 6 remake will be done though. But I'm thinking if you're able to incorporate these brand new stuff, basically all the stuff that we saw within Fire Red and Leaf Green, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, all those new changes, if you were to incorporate new changes like that, as well as new story elements into these other games. Also, you can go ahead and pull like Black White to Black 2 White 2. You can include like whole new areas up in the thing. Like, remember Gen 5 for Black 2 and White 2, they had a whole new area of the map leading up to the third gym leader town. Like the first 2 gyms, going through those different environments, you were on like a different side of the Unova region though. So if you can incorporate all that stuff what you were doing within the past first three remakes, and incorporate what you were liking and you're aspiring to do with the whole 2 is new with black and white to black 2 white 2, and also keep in mind that this is technically a sequel to your original generation games that came prior to this, I think we can have a completely different thought and a different mindset when it comes to remakes within the Pokemon series. Say what you will about the new generations that are coming out. I enjoyed Sword and Shield. I know not a lot of others didn't because you know you might have felt some kind of mixed way with the whole National Dex thing though. But I'm just trying to solve one issue at a time right here though. In terms of the remakes, if you do everything I just recommended, Game Freak, I'm pretty sure we'll be on a whole different wavelength than what we currently are at right now, though. I mean, yes, the game is selling good and stuff, and while yes, technically, the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl games will be perfectly fine for new players that had never experienced the original Diamond and Pearl. But if you played the original Diamond and Pearl, or especially Platinum, which Platinum was like by far like the best experience out there, though, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you getting Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I wish I could take my own advice here at this point at the game, though. But that's basically what I wanted to talk about in this video. Please, Game Freak, in the future, make the remake games act like sequels with a whole bunch of new changes and stuff that you can implement from the current generation that you're currently on, whether it be Gen 9 and onwards, while also adding its new flavor and stuff, new environments and stuff, but using the core basic of the region itself with the Pokemon that existed in that region to make a brand new experience that will make players come back to these games for years to come. So that's basically all I have to say in this video for today. I know I was kind of, I don't think I was all over the place though, but I did have to kind of pull upon history to kind of make my point of, you know, how they can handle these remakes going on in the future though. But if you really like this video, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing for the foreseeable future for anything I feel like talking about here on this channel though. So remember y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.